good, everyone? It's MJO23Dan back with another video. So today's video is going to be about the Air Jordan 11 Space Jam player exclusive Black Concord, Monstar Mash, Blonde Cords, whatever you guys want to name it. I got 3 pairs. So if you guys watched my last video, I showed you guys at the end that I was able to cook on 3 pairs. That's right, 3 pairs. And none of it's for sale. This is all me. I'm being greedy for the rest of the year. This is it. This is 2016. I'm done. Let's get on to 2017. In fact, I ended up scooping 4 pairs, but the 4th pair actually went to a friend that met me at the mall, and I pretty much hooked them up for retail. So, 3 pairs for me. Let's go. Alright, so this is the outside of the box, as you guys have seen on other reviews or other pictures. We have the 23 up on the top sleeve of the box, and then in the background we have the 45. So you have Bugs Bunny, you have the Monstars, all in there. So you pretty much pull out the sleeve, and it's just a flat sleeve like this. You have the Looney Tunes branding on the back, as well as the rest of the other branding as well. And this is something that caught me off guard here too. So you know, on the tongues of your shoes on the 11s you have Jumpman Jordan. So the boxes actually say Jordan Jumpman. So I'm not sure if you guys can pick that up, but check your pairs, check your box, and it actually says it backwards, Jordan Jumpman. Here's the actual box. You have the 45 on the top lid, 360 around. Here's the underside of the box with the branding again. And the box label, Air Jordan 11 Retro. This is in the black Concord white, style numbers 378037, color code 003. Alright, so you pop the lid off and you have the galaxy print on the underside. Pretty nice addition to what Jordan Brand had done with the Space Jam theme. We have the 11 sleeve on the top. Now this is different from your other sleeves that have released on past holidays. So on the other sleeves it would say Tinker made them shine, Mike made them fly, you make them iconic. So that's not actually going to be on here. Alright, so you pull off the cover and you get the 45. You got to make sure you have the black paper along with the white paper. Alright, you pull out the shoes. Take the paper out. And this is the underside of the box. And this is something that you want to note too. So all of your Space Jams are going to have a quality control sticker. And this is something that wasn't present in the True Blue 3. So I was actually examining all the pairs that I picked up today, and all of them have pretty good craftsmanship. I have no flaws whatsoever. So let me go ahead and show you. And there is no quality control sticker underneath all that paper and the shoes at the bottom of the box. So you will see a lot of craftsmanship issues in the True Blue 3. So that's one big difference, you know, with the brush strokes on the midsole, the elephant print being different, the tabs being kind of off, you know, stuff like that. So Jordan Brand did a better job with the Space Jam 11s than they did with the True Blue 3. So let's put this all away. So the Air Jordan 11, here's a little bit of a history lesson. So this shoe was worn in Space Jam, although this particular pair with the 45 on the back is what Jordan wore in the 1995 NBA semifinals against the Orlando Magic. So this is a little bit more true to what he wore in the playoffs than he did in the actual movie. In the actual movie, he wore a pair that had 23 on the back. Now in game 1 Michael Jordan wore the Concord 11s, an OG pair. Although the difference with his pair is that he had number 45 on the back. So the OGs that released in 1995 had the 23 that is screen printed on the back. So it definitely is not the PE version that he wore in the playoffs. So for games 1 and 2 of the 1995 conference semifinals, he wore a pair of Concord 11s that actually got banned by the NBA because they did not match black, which his teammates were wearing in the playoffs. So he had to switch to a black pair. Now he didn't go right away to the black Concord 11s. He actually wore a pair of Penny Hardaway's Nike Air Flight 1s with the back tab cut off the back. Now I'm not sure exactly what the backstory is with that, whether he was waiting for Nike to produce the black version of the Air Jordan 11, or they were already made and he's just waiting for a shipment from Oregon or something. Who knows? But this is indeed true to what he wore in games 4, 5, and 6 of that conference semifinal with the 45 on the back. That's pretty much the rundown of the history of this shoe. My prediction for next year, and I even extended this question to my Instagram following. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, please do. It's an extension of my YouTube at mjo23dan. I'm willing to bet that Jordan Brand will release the Concord 11, but with the 45 on the back. Now, the pair that Jordan wore looked to be a stitched 45, but I have seen 45s that had the screen print on it as well, but I'm willing to bet it's going to be a stitched 45 on the Concord 11. We'll see. I'm actually pretty hyped if that's going to be the case. Also, another question that I pondered to the rest of my Instagram following is whether Jordan Brand should continue with the 11 line for the holiday season. Now, we have yet to see a black cement 4 or a black cement 3 with Nike Air. To tell you the honest truth, my 94 pair is talking back to me and it needs to be revived. So I wanted to extend the question to you guys, is whether or not you think Jordan Brand should continue with the 11 line for holiday season, or perhaps maybe they should release the black cement 3. Now, if you think that it would be better to release that shoe at Black Friday, let me know in the comments why. Because honestly, we've been getting a Jordan 11 ever since the countdown pack of 2008, and it is now 2016. So that's pretty much 8 straight years of Jordan 11s. What do you guys think? Now, diving into a little bit more history of the black Concord 11, there are different versions of this shoe. Now, the myth has always been that the black Concords have been a shoe that Nick Anderson was supposed to debut before Michael Jordan. And also a lot of people were saying that it's because it had the varsity blue hits on it, as you see with the 2000 pair. They changed this up with the original Jordan Brand team at the time that was working on the shoe to pay homage to the shoe that Jordan was wearing in the 1995 playoffs. So you'll see varsity blue hits on the 2000 and Mike's pair with the Concord purple on there. So you'll see that that's a difference. But I'll get into the comparison in a bit. So because it was a one-off for Jordan, we did not originally see this shoe drop in the 1995 or 1996 NBA season. Although Mike did debut the Concord 11 in the 1995-96 NBA season, along with the Columbia Blue 11 in the All-Star Game in 1996, and a final version of the Air Jordan 11 in the black and red Air Jordan 11, something that he wore in the playoffs. So back to these guys. So these guys never dropped in the 1995 or 1996 NBA season, although we did get a retro in 2000, and it was considered a Retro Plus colorway. And a Retro Plus colorway basically means with the plus, it was different from the original. So you'll see the varsity royal hits on the bottom of the shoe, as well as on the Jumpman at the heel and then at the tongue. And that somehow continued with the 2009 version of the shoe, where you have the varsity royal hits of the Jumpmans and the bottom of the shoe. So I want to talk direction of the Jumpmans real quick. So you'll notice with this year's model, that we have the Jumpmans facing the opposite directions. And this is true with the OGs. So again, you have the Concorde 11 from 1995-96. These are the OGs where they face opposite. Notice how the Jumpmans are stitched as well. Here is the Columbia Blue Air Jordan 11 from the 1995-96 NBA season as well, what Jordan wore in the 96 All-Star game. And finally, the black and red version of the Air Jordan 11, or the playoff edition, where Mike wore these in the 1995-96 NBA playoffs, where the Jumpmans again are facing the opposite directions. Now, the directions of the Jumpman actually changed in the DMP 11. So with the DMP, or the Defining Moments package from 2006, we start to see that the Jumpmans are facing the same direction. And this is the first year that Jordan Brand had started to change things with their Jumpmans and their orientation. So you'll see here in 2009, they had the Jumpmans facing the same direction. This is in the Varsity Blue, or the Varsity Royal Hit. And in 2016, Jordan Brand changed that back to the original colorway, which is supposed to be Concorde. So there's one aspect of the Jordan 11 that I want to bring up, and it's these peaks that people are talking about. And you'll see that right here. So these are actually called, in shoemaking terms, cutting die nicks. And these are supposed to actually be removed before they get released to the general public. So this is just something that's supposed to be cut off and smoothed out so that you don't see that. And basically this is just a guide for shoemakers to be able to find the center of their upper pattern so that they know where to stitch and all that good stuff. So these are actually supposed to be cut off and shaved down so that it's not as prominent. But for some odd reason, Jordan Brand decided to leave that aspect of the shoe on there. So whether you like it or not, it's on there. So I mean, whether you want to use it as like a legit check tool for your shoes in the future, be my guest. But a lot of people in the past have always called this out, where if there were peaks on a shoe, it was pretty much a fake. So I mean, you see it here in the 2016, and I don't hear anybody screaming fakes anymore. Actually, let me take that a step further and show you guys what it looks like on the OGs. So here it is on the Concorde 11. Try to put that side by side so you guys can see. There is a little bit of a cutting die nick right there, and it's more prominent on the 2016 OG Columbia 11. And you'll see it's pretty prominent on the 2016 still than it is on the OG. And you'll still see a little bit there on the sides as well, and the opposite sides. Go ahead and bring that Concorde 11 back up here so you guys can see. And then I noticed on the black and red version of the shoe as well from the 95-96 season is that it was hardly even present. So here is the 96 version. Very little. And then the opposite side. So one thing Jordan Brand actually brought back that was cool too, and this is the OG version of the shoe as well, is that they brought back this thick patent leather, and it's amazing. It looks great. It looks just like what it did in the 95-96 NBA season. And I'm glad that's back, because when we got the retros, and here's the 2009, you'll notice that the patent leather is very thin. It's very short, even on the back. Take a look at that difference here when I put them side by side. You can see how much more patent leather there is on the 2016 versus the 2009. And then they also brought back the real patent leather on this, so you'll notice that with the grain and the white line coming all the way across as it does on the OG. So I'm actually pretty happy about that, and I'm glad that people in 2016 is able to experience that, because this is how it was back then. Alright, and then lastly, what I wanted to do was compare the shape of the tongues here. So you'll see on the OG that the tongue here is a little bit more symmetrical on the 2016 versus like the OG, which is a little bit wider. Now don't get me wrong, I actually tried this on. It's pretty comfortable, pretty nice, but it's nothing like free-flowing like the OG. Now here's the 2000, so you want to go ahead and compare the tongues to that as well. And something new that they did with the 11s as well is that, and I brought this up in a previous video, is that when they started to stitch the upper on these 11s, and this is the 2000, they overlapped the leather here, so you can see the stitch work on there, whereas on the 2016 and even the 2009, you don't see that overlapping leather. It's actually folded in, so it's a nice and clean look. Again, here's the OG. You'll see the overlapping leather on either side of the tongue. Now the shape of that is a little bit more closer to the Columbia 11 than it is on the rest of, say, the OG Concord and the OG Black and Red. So we do have that symmetrical look with it, but the upper is different as well. So you have a mesh tongue on both, and you have leather on the opposite side versus the Black Concord Air Jordan 11. So just to take a look at that, you can see that the shape is similar. So I'm kind of thinking that this is what the OG was supposed to look like had they released the OG in the 45 or the playoff version of what Mike wore in those games. Alright, so let's get a proper review going. So this is the 2016, this is the 2009, and this is the 2000. So I noted in the beginning of the video how the tongues here on the box actually had Jordan Jumpman. So I'm actually looking at the tongue right now of the 2016, and it does say Jumpman Jordan on it. And pretty much the same thing on the 2009 Jumpman Jordan, but on the 2000 it has Jumpman Jam. So Jumpman Jam on the 2000, Jumpman Jordan on the 2009, and same thing, Jumpman Jordan on the 2016. You'll see 4 different versions of the tongue tag. The movie pair actually says Space Jam. The next one says Jumpman Jam, and that is the 2000 version. The third one says Jordan Jam, and that's an actual salesman sample that had the 45 actually facing vertically instead of horizontally. So you have the 4 at the top and the 5 at the bottom. And that's never actually been released either. It stayed a sample. And I guess Jordan Brand was trying to play around with ideas whether they should release that version or not. But I'm glad they didn't, and they stuck with the 2000 version with the 23 on the back, because let's be honest,
45. That's a bad luck number, dog.
23 is Michael Jordan, and that's how it should be. Although, like I said, if we get a Concord 11 with 45 on the back, just like he wore in games 1 and 2 of that playoff series against the Orlando Magic, let's make it happen. There really isn't a true comparison between these, because the 2016 is a lot more like the OG. So I feel like I should be comparing the 2016 to the OGs. 2000 and the 2009 version are pretty similar to each other than like height of the patent leather. The 2009, they used minimal padding in between each of these cords here, so you won't have as much padding as it did in the 2000. And the 2016, they actually brought back the good padding behind the mesh here. On the actual collar itself, They gave a decent amount of padding on the 2000 as compared to like the 2009. It's a little bit more stiff, and then the 2016 padding is it's okay. It's not the 2000 or even the DMP, which had a phenomenal amount of padding. Let's go ahead and take note of that 23. So like I said before, that Jordan's pair in the movie had a stitch 23, and that pair actually looked badass as well. So let's see, 2000, 2009, and 2016, you'll see the toes. You'll notice the toes, a lot more of a well-defined patent leather toe, along with the similarities here between the 2000 and 2009. So you want to just compare that to the OG there. You get like a decent amount of patent leather all throughout. Again, with the heights, just great. 2016, really don't have any problems with it. So I talked about the direction of the Jumpmans. Go ahead and pull out this insert here. So they laced this up. It came with a cardboard insert. It also came with a Concord insert shoe tree, and this is going to be from 8.5 to size 10, because I do have a size 10. I gave the paper as well. Here's the insert, and then on the inside, go ahead and pull out this insole for you. And this Nike Air actually is a lot bigger than the OG. Let me go ahead and show you that right now. This is what it looks like in relation to the OG. So you'll see the Nike Air in there is a little bit smaller as compared to the OG, or to the Retro. It's bigger. On the back side of the tongue of the 2016, quality basketball products inspired by the greatest player ever. Notice the lines, notice the stitching. And then at the strobel board of the shoe, you have stamping in Concord, and you got one single dot in there. Why you have that dot in there to actually match up with the last to build around. So here's the inside tag information for the shoes. I have 8/3/2016 to 9/5/2016. And that's about it. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns regarding anything that I showed here, anything else that you want to know, I tried to give like a pretty in-depth breakdown, comparison review of the shoes. Really, I don't think anybody on YouTube is actually going in depth like I am. So I'm checking every single nook and cranny of the shoes. If you guys appreciate that, hit me with a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I really want to give you guys the benefit of the doubt. You guys earn your money. The shoes are $220. It's probably even going to still go up next year and beyond. So you really want to get a full detailed review of the shoes and what you're paying for. Again, it's MJO23Dan. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your support. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.